It feels like we can't ignore that shit anymore. We just can't. It's everywhere. It's mind blowing. Like the recent layoffs in the U.S., the cost of living in Switzerland, the cost of living in general, like everywhere. Salaries do not keep up with the cost of living. It's just not. It's not a reality. Like in some places, they do, but for upper management stuff like that, like yeah, it's happening. And like that video, I want to see if DW News actually corresponds that topic correctly. Like, what's behind the recent wave of job cuts? Let's see.
You had this kind of big hiring binge, particularly in tech, through to probably mid to late 2022. But it's difficult, I think, to look at the statistics and say we have this huge AI-driven wave happening now.
See, it's AI. What
Amazon
else?
has just announced a new round of layoffs, and that follows announcements by UPS this month and HP and Verizon in.
Let me tell you something. Elon Musk did it the first with Twitter. They showed you that you can lay off a lot of people, and the company will still do great. I mean, let's be honest. Twitter works better with only those 20 people working there, without those regulations and chatbots and everything. It works better. Before that, it was a cesspool of inbreds. But now it works better. And he showed us, yeah, it's actually possible. And a lot of people follow that. A lot of people, a lot of companies. And we're right in the middle of it. Like 2 months ago, it wasn't that bad. But look at this now. They prepared the full package for 26. I mean, like we got 2nd of February. And January has been one hell of a ride. I feel like we're in April or something like that, of how much stuff happened.
November, among other companies. So, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why are firms slimming down? And what, if anything, could it
You
have
want
to
to
do
cut
with,
costs?
say, the pandemic or with AI?
AI.
Well, Matthew Bidwell is a professor of management at the Wharton School. He joins me for more. Matthew, well.
I mean, like, yeah, the pandemic. I don't want to put it that way, but let's put it that way, just for the sake of the video. The pandemic showed that companies need people to sustain, right? To keep production up and everything. So people can show up because like they're sick, they're in quarantine, they whatever. AI does not have any restrictions, right? Can't get sick. Labor force can work like 24/7. Before that, it was shift works, but yeah, still they were changing shifts. But
Welcome. Amazon has said it's cutting 16,000 on top of 14,000 it cut last year. UPS says it wants to cut 30,000 operational positions this year, HP between 4 and 6,000, and Verizon 13,000. Now, there are a variety of reasons given by each company, but we often see streamlining, reducing layers as reasons given. A few have also made it clear in the past that they want to achieve cost savings through AI. So my question to you, is this actually the great AI cull that we've been worried about?
No, no, I guess my overall message is probably don't panic. There are
panic.
a lot of things going on there. I think particularly with the Amazon layoffs, what you're seeing is to some extent them getting ready for AI as they try and pivot their business and try and embed AI more deeply in anything. Like you say, some of it is this kind of post-pandemic slimming down as well. I don't think we're yet seeing a lot of evidence that people are being wholesale replaced by AI, and that's what's driving these layoffs.
Is there a theme amongst all of these layoffs? You said some may be getting ready for AI, a bit of post-pandemic bloat. Why all of this now and sort of lumped together, or is that just coincidence?
I think it's just coincidence. I mean, one of the interesting things is if you look at economy-wide statistics, so a couple people look at, there's a government survey of layoffs, the JOLT statistics. Other people look at new claims for unemployment. If you look at those, economy-wide, it looks like the rate of layoffs is pretty close to historical lows. And so it's very hard to look at the data and say, yes, there's this huge wave of layoffs coming. We see these things, they're clearly very damaging for the people involved. But it's difficult, I think, to look at the statistics and say we have this huge AI-driven wave happening now.
That's complete bullshit, man. That's complete bullshit. How about if I'm gonna keep listening, honestly. Of course it's AI. What are you saying? What is he saying? Am I misinterpreting something? Am I misunderstanding something? Don't panic. Of course it's I mean, like, look at that dude. He's probably retired in like 5 to 10 years, maybe even less. Maybe he already is. I don't fucking know. Of course it's time to panic, especially for the people who, when cost living rises, like you can't hold up with the food. Like you cannot keep up. Of course then it is time to panic. Some people are just wild.
Are these mostly larger companies where we're seeing this happen, or is this mirrored also in mid-size or smaller companies right now?
Everywhere.
I think it tends to be mainly large companies. One of the interesting things is, like I say, we're not seeing this kind of wholesale wave of layoffs in the nationwide data. You are seeing a lot of announcement by large companies. One reason for that could be we're actually seeing more layoffs among large companies than smaller companies. It's certainly not economy-wide.
Of course, bigger companies have more people, so if you lay off more people, it's rational to the small ones as well. So
When we say this could be coming
what kind of idiot did they bring to the
down from the pandemic, describe to me what the past 5 years have looked like. I suppose there was a hiring spree. Was that labor force wide? Was that mostly amongst these bigger companies?
There was a hiring spree like shortly after COVID, shortly. And like then it switched. Shrinking economy too, yeah. When, yeah. Thank you. Panic has started with the pandemic. Yeah, they will find a way. They will find a way to spend the money and keep the economy running. But yeah, absolutely true. It will not thrive as good if only that's the only part that we can like clinch on.
And then are they all sort of shedding that now? Is it going back to pre-pandemic, or where are we?
Yeah, we've been on this phenomenal roller coaster in the US job market. I think obviously the pandemic, lots of people got fired initially. Very quickly, people realized that things were going to be better than they imagined. They started rehiring, I think, particularly in tech. And if you talk to people in the tech industry, they will tell you that during the couple of years after 2020, the number of people employed in those organizations increased astronomically. Like everybody there was like, where did all of these people come from? And so what we've been seeing over the last 2 years, I think across a lot of those
Kind of
firms,
hard to
has as
believe, but
much to
hey,
do with attempts to unwind that, a sense that they went too far in a lot of that hiring, than it is kind of broader AI and those other changes. So I think it's been very difficult often to untangle those two influences.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the years after the pandemic, we saw a good bit of layoffs amongst tech companies along the kind of tech jobs, tech-related jobs. Now this seems to be a bit more white-collar and corporate. Maybe you can sort of parcel that apart for us.
I mean, I think there has been, so yes, you had this kind of big hiring binge, particularly in tech through to probably mid to late 2022. I'd say 2023 is where that turned. And a lot of that was unwinding the pandemic the pandemic hiring. More recent years, it may have spread a bit. You've also seen, I think, consulting has been kind of in a bit of a doldrums. Some of that probably actually related to kind of reduced spending by tech. People being generally, I think, tightening their belts. When you look at corporate America generally, indices of uncertainty have been through the roof, driven partly by technology, partly by government policy. Uncertainty is never very good for hiring and those sorts of things. And so, yes, I think there are a bunch of
There's no
headwinds
certainty in
facing
nothing.
kind of US corporations at the moment that have kind of impacted employment. So far, most of that impact has actually been on reduced hiring. So hiring rates are very low. That's what's making it hard, I think, for a lot of people to find jobs. We're not yet seeing economy-wide that translate into layoffs as well.
You said in an interview late last year, that this is the kind of job force or labor force economy where it could go either way. It's unclear which direction it's going. Do you still feel that?
Yeah, I'm not sure that much has changed in the last 2 months. I mean, the economy itself in the US, it's continuing to grow. And people point out the effects of the
Yes, it's growing.
tax cuts from last year's legislation will start to kick in. That should start to lead to kind of increased economic growth. So I think some of those fundamentals are quite good. There are definitely overhangs, government policy uncertainty. There are concerns, on the one hand, there are concerns that AI is going to take all of our jobs. On the other hand, there are concerns that if it doesn't, we have a huge AI bubble that's about to burst. Both of those things, I think, could potentially weigh on the labor market. So it's a difficult one to predict at the moment. It's kind of frozen in place. And like you say, we're waiting to see which way it's going to go.
You said some of these companies might be anticipating the role of AI coming in and being able to allow them to sort of streamline a bit more. Is there an expectation, do you have an expectation that there will be significant cuts because of AI in the workforce?
Let's see how he answers that. Because I'm 100% sure that it will get worse.
I think it's very difficult to tell. I think if the technology froze where we were today, there would be some cuts, but probably not huge. I think the technology will continue to develop. The question is, how good will it get? How quickly? And I think that uncertainty makes it very difficult to know what impact it's going to have on the labor market.
It will develop very quickly, very good. So
over the next 2 to 3 years. All of that said, I think there's another factor here, which is, we hear all the time investors and boards are telling companies, you've got to replace people, you've got to embed AI in your processes, you've got to be using it to increase efficiency. So to some extent, I think that kind of top-down pressure to increase efficiencies to drive AI probably has almost as much impact as the technology itself.
Yeah, do you think that we understand actually the exposure of certain career fields to AI at this point?
No.
I read recently JP Morgan used the example of a radiologist. AI is deployed alongside a radiologist instead of replacing them because of the seriousness of the work, reading these x-rays and being able to deliver a kind of analysis of it. Do we understand where AI will really be able to take over and where it still might not?
No. Yeah. I mean, back in, I think it was 2016, 2017, kind of the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, an incredibly smart man, made some throwaway comment about we should stop training radiologists now on the basis that AI was going to be able to read scans better than radiologists. And it's certainly the case that there's a lot of evidence AI does a really good job at doing that. But kind of the main crisis in radiology in recent years has been a shortage of radiologists. So, coming up for 10 years later, we still haven't seen it significantly impact that labor market. And so, like you say, I think it's just hugely uncertain. It takes a long time to figure out what technologies can really do, how organizations are going to adjust, how consumers are going to adjust. And until that happens, I think it's quite difficult. You can point at probably a few occupations that say, yeah, I'm worried about that. But kind of labor force wide, very much in wait and see at the moment.
Yeah, I want to wrap up by going back to the labor market one more time. unemployment right now at 4.4% in the U.S. I'm curious if you see subsections that we should be watching. For example, youth or college educated. When you look at unemployment, when you look at the job force, what really stands out and distinguishes it from the past?
So the big piece that has got a lot of attention recently is young college graduates have what I would describe as a weirdly high unemployment rate, right? College graduates generally have a much lower unemployment rate than people without college degrees. But when you look at young people, actually their unemployment rate is, college graduates, it's higher than you would expect given the overall unemployment rate. It's higher than you would expect given the unemployment rate for high school graduates. There are a lot of explanations for that. Like I say, we've just not seen a lot of hiring going on recently. And when there's not a lot of hiring going on, the people are going to be most affected are people who are entering the job market for the first time. And so you kind of expect that for recent graduates. I think we've also seen over the...
I've entered the job market like that. Exactly. Like with only fails, not being hired, taking that job, being replaced by in that job, even though I did good, bro. I did good. I had a couple of promotions. I was just like hourly pay and then fixed salary. So I worked my way up like all the way. Then I had that fixed salary for 6 months, and he's like, "Yeah, we're terminating your position. Thank you for your service. Like, can you bring back the clothes?" Because it was security. Can you bring back the clothes, and good luck in the job market. That's what literally it was a small company. So that's what literally the boss told me, that like, good luck. Don't be a stranger. Let's go out and drink a coffee, but you terminated. Bring back the clothes. And I stood there like, you fucking kidding me? What is that and why? There was no explanation. And if these are the first impressions of the job market, I'm all built on efficiency. I'm Aquarius. Like I'm efficiency. I analyze systems that has some bad, like, yeah. I analyze systems and think about how I can efficiently optimize them, right? So that's like my character. I always look at things and like, yeah, you could do that better, faster. But it's not always better to do it faster. It's not always. Had to learn that the hard way. Can't rise to shine like from 0 to 100. You can't. And if that's the first impression of a job market, I had a lot of friends. Like my friends are a lot of people who are in colleges because I went to. So my friend, like a lot of people that I know, but through work the last 4 years, I met a lot of different people as well. And it's crazy how bad the job market has gone. It's crazy, man. I can't even get a job as a driver. I can't. I mean, they'd rather take in immigrants because they're more happy with less money. And I'm sitting there as a Swiss citizen, national, not even getting a job at the post service. I couldn't because they didn't like me. But then I go out to get the post everything, and I'll see Somali people driving and doing their job. Yeah, dude, it's getting worse. And I thought like, yeah, France and all of these countries are bad, but like we are joining them. We're joining them. So if one person jumps off the cliff, I guess everybody's following. Right, Elon?
Last 4 or 5 years, the hottest labor market has actually been for what you might call frontline workers, people in retail, warehouses, all of those sorts of things, jobs that don't require a high school degree. And so we have seen a shift in where the demand is. What everybody is worried about is, again, could this also be about AI is best suited to replace kind of entry-level jobs, particularly among college graduates? It's possible, but I think the proof isn't there yet.
It's absolute banana, that boy. absolute banana. I mean, like he even plays the part and looks the way. I mean, what the fuck, bro? I mean, of course it's AI. Of course it is. Internship positions are being eradicated by artificial intelligence. There's no secret about that. I mean, like, you give the computer the easy jobs, the easy work, right? So, and I've been in warehouses, I've been security on the street, I've been in traffic control in the streets, I've planned routes, I've worked with police, law enforcement, and stuff together, and I've been in warehouses. I drove all around like my town and stuff, delivering food. I pizza delivered. I called like 3 to 5 of them, like in my region. One was close to getting it, but then he didn't call me back, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's not my place to be. And had an internship because of my college, university. I mean, I'm sorry, because of my university, my bachelor degree required for me to have an internship, like working while I'm studying, and required that. I had it, and the requirements for the testing phase, like those 3 months where you go into the new job, like I had clear instructions on what to learn. In the third week, I got fired. Like, and she made it sound like, yeah, for months you've been doing your work bad and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I'm still learning the routine. Like, your daily business keeps up the light. I had to create a marketing concept about the company in like 3 months. I had to be ready in like starting of December. And I'm sitting there at like the beginning of September. I'm like, I'm working myself in. Like, these people have no guidance at all, and they're trying to. And then I got fired because of my ability, and that's why I searched an intern position. I mean, I literally told them, like, I'm searching something so I can set foot into that world, because I'm coming from a different background. I know a lot of stuff about AI. I know a lot of stuff about work. I know a lot of stuff. I've experienced a lot of bad companies. I've experienced, fortunately, all of them were not good. Like the first one, it felt like it was the right for the time, but oh, the way the fluctuation rate was driving up and down, made me realize stuff is not good at all. And I was sitting there like my experiences have been really bad. Then I was 9 months signed up at the unemployment house in my area, right? And at the unemployment department, I was registered there, had to go to schools, like something like that, even though I was in university, and they wanted me to go to German language school. They wanted me to go to basic computer task school, and I'm like sitting here like close to getting the bachelor's degree, but I can't get any further. And I can't get any further because I need an internship, and an internship, that not having an internship is blocking me from getting further. And I'm sitting there like unemployed, and I'm like, I'm in language school with immigrants, even though like I could teach how to write a proper application, a proper CV. I could teach that. I could, but I wouldn't now. So I've been underperformed all my life. All my life. I could never show what I've learned, or like who I truly was. And for now, man, people, those bad experiences are here for a reason. Don't let them bring you down. Stay hard. Hustle. See you in the next one.